I don't really understand why some people think that abs are the main muscles in a skill like front lever, but I noticed there's a common misconception about this. Your abs are important, of course, but they're not as important as people think. You need it to hold a clean position, but it's not what drives the movement. Even if you know that, this video will still be useful for you because I'll also tell you what causes this effect, where your hips and legs are sagging, what causes the opposite effect, which is called hip pike, and how to fix those things. I'll also talk about how to figure out which muscles are engaged in your body at any given moment, the anatomy of the front lever, and will give you a rough estimation of what percentage each muscle group takes in a front lever. Let's talk about the actual function of your core and abs and how important they actually are in a front lever. For context, your core is like a cylinder, which also includes lower back and hip flexors, while your abs, or abdominal muscles, is, to put it simply, a six pack you see. The function of your abs is pulling the torso forward, like you do in crunches, maintain proper posture, stabilize the spine and pelvis, and prevent bending backwards. In a move like front lever or back lever, your abdominals engagement is isometric. Isometric means it's holding the tension without moving. Now, if we remove the abs in a front lever, you won't be able to hold a straight body, but you will still be able to raise and hold your upper half successfully. And that's what the front lever is mostly about. Basically, weak abdominals mean a front lever like this. Here's a test to see if they are strong enough. If you can hold a clean and straight dragon flag for a few seconds, abs are most likely not the issue. This mistake is actually quite rare, and I don't think many people can even do this on purpose. A much more common mistake is this, which is called hip pike. This can be due to multiple reasons, and one of them is lower back. Lower back is a group of antagonist muscles to the abs, meaning they perform opposite functions, like bending the torso backwards. So if your front lever looks like this, it may be that your lower back is the weak link. However, don't jump into conclusions and make it the priority in your training just yet, because there is another reason for the so-called hip pike. Once you understand the mechanics, it will all make sense. Front lever is mostly bringing your arms to your body. In other words, it's a shoulder extension. And everything is happening in this sector. You are pulling your body up, and the main muscles responsible for that are lats, which are supported by teres major and posterior deltoids, or to put it simply, rear shoulders. If you are having a slight pike, but the whole torso is closer to the horizontal line, the solution may be to strengthen your lower back. However, if you can't even bring your body to a horizontal line, the problem is definitely the lats. By holding your body like this, you are moving the center of mass closer to the lever. In other words, you are simply becoming shorter, which makes the exercise easier. This is the idea behind all progressions. The closer the center of mass is to the point where you apply strength, shoulder in this case, the less force you need to produce and the easier exercise is. The center of mass will always be directly below the bar. To put it simply, if this is your mistake, your lats are not strong enough. Strength is built not through progressions, but through heavy lifting like weighted pull-ups, rows, even straight arm pull-downs as an additional exercise. After all, if you take away the back and the shoulders completely, you won't even be able to lift your body to a front lever position. When you're trying to figure out which muscles are doing most of the work in a certain move, look at which joints are actually moving and which are still. For instance, when you're doing dumbbell curls, which muscles do you think are engaged? Do your legs work? No. Does your back work? No. Does your core work? Kind of, but no. It's there to stabilize your position, but if we remove it, you will still be able to do curls. Your biceps is doing around 99% of work. In case your form is strict, of course, because you are flexing your elbow, and the function of the biceps is flexion of your elbows. Always look for the muscle above the moving joint. By above, I mean closer to the center of your body. If you move your wrists, you activate your forearm muscles. If you move the forearm, you activate the biceps and triceps. If you move the whole arm, you activate shoulders and back. This is where it gets a bit more complicated, but nothing too difficult. Depending on the plane of motion, you also activate your chest and other back muscles. So how much does each muscle group contribute to the front lever? This is going to be a rough estimation and definitely a subject for discussion. On top of that, it will vary for each individual. Let's take the majority for sure. Around 50% of the movement is dependent on your back. Rear shoulders, teres major, traps, and rhomboid muscles take around 20%. Traps and rhomboids are essential for scapular retraction and stabilizing shoulders. The abdominals are right behind the delts and take around 10%, alongside lower back, glutes, and hamstrings, which also take about 10% in total. So your core is about 20%. I gave the remaining 10% to biceps, triceps, and forearms, which is probably too much, but here's an interesting part. The arms contribution actually depends a lot on your form. If you are bending your elbows, biceps take much bigger load, but if you keep your arms completely straight, their role is more passive. It won't be zero, but it's minimal. And there you have it. If you found this helpful, chances are you want to master the front lever. I offer a personalized step-by-step plan that will guarantee you results no matter your genetics. I managed to learn it while being 6'1" and 177 pounds. If you're interested, DM me on Instagram. The link is below and I'll see you in the next one.